Okay, Hanny, I'm
Hello.
very glad that we are little by little and gradually going back to normal. Going back to normal in
Yes.
my city means like good weather,
Yeah.
not raining
Well,
anymore. And as usual, like on Fridays, we have the amazing podcast with the always stunning Hanny Nussen. A
thank you
great
for
privilege,
having me. It's
a
good
great
to be
privilege,
back.
a great privilege.
Thank you. Thank you.
And today's topic, um, the topic we're going to deal with is it's kind of topic that some people might not have might not feel a kind of like they are kind of like strong connection with. But I think everyone, I mean, no one is indifferent. And if
Right.
they think or they state they are indifferent, I think they are deep inside lying. Okay.
Mm.
So, like summer's just round the corner and many people are concerned or interested in looking good. Okay. But then the question, the $1 question arises. It's like, if I think like, this just like stating this might rub some people the wrong way, because like, I mean, what is looking good? Okay, what or when you think of looking good, does that mean, or does that conjure up like looking in a certain way? For example, and if it did, does it make you feel kind of like wrong, or you tell me what you think of like the idea of looking good?
Well, it depends if I'm talking about what that idea would be for me personally, like when I think I look good versus what I think when I think other people look good. So which one should I tell you?
I mean, let's try to narrow it down. Look good for the summer.
For the summer, but
Yeah.
for me personally?
Yeah, for you personally, for example, and for you in other people.
Okay, well, I mean, to be honest, my idea of when I look good doesn't really differ based on the season. It's kind of just I would say it's a consistent thing. Like I usually feel good. As long as I feel good, I know that I'm happy with how I look. Like whenever I start feeling insecure, I know it's because it's not because of what other people think about me. It's because of something internally, whether it's because I know I've been eating not so great lately, whether I know it's because I've been lazy with my workouts, whether it's because I know I haven't been getting enough sleep, or slacking off in some way or another.
Okay.
I feel it. So it's more of a feeling rather than a physical. Like when I look in the mirror, usually I'm happy with what I see. So for me, that's not really an indication. It's more of like an internal feeling. So as long as I feel good, it doesn't matter to me whether summer's coming or winter's coming, whatever season. It doesn't depend at all on what the temperature is outside.
Okay, I get
it. Does it for you? Because I do know there's this whole pressure of looking ready for the summer, bikini body, blah blah blah. I don't know. Do you feel this pressure?
I don't feel the pressure. Okay, why? Okay, because I have a similar, I would say, attitude towards health as you. So I'm pretty consistent throughout the entire year, all year round. Okay, so that means that I'm not gonna find, I'm not gonna find myself. It's very unlikely that, given my consistency and my my inclination, okay, towards what people understand as fitness. I mean, summer's not gonna take me by surprise, in a sense, like I'm not gonna look like a complete, kind of like
you like start wearing shorter clothes and all of a sudden people say like, whoa, was that underneath?
No, not exactly that. It's like I'm not, I think, I mean, not to that extent. Okay, that might be subjective. Okay, but I strive to, I mean, so like my exercise regime, okay, my my workout is so ingrained, okay, that I don't think I'm gonna, be, I mean, I'm not gonna look awful, okay, like in any time, because like, you have been very consistent, okay, so I'm not concerned about like looking awful. However, you know that, well, I mean, many people that work out are concerned about, especially, I mean, I'm talking about the summer, because it's the time of the year where you wear like, kind of lighter clothes, or
less clothes.
You even want to, to wear a tank top or something if you're a guy, okay? And many guys, okay, are concerned, many guys who actually do some exercise are concerned about like being able to wear, okay, that garment with some dignity. And I understand, like, people like, so long as you're wearing something, you're wearing that with dignity,
Yeah.
However, so, yeah, I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about.
However, no, I mean, I think it's the same for women. Most women feel self-conscious if all of a sudden in the summer, they have to start wearing shorter sleeves or, those strap tops. They're insecure about their arms, or like in bikinis, especially how their belly looks or how their thighs look. I mean, I think for women, it's probably more of an issue.
You think there's more pressure, like on women? Even so,
but you know what? I think a lot of that pressure is
self-imposed,
by not even self-imposed, but put on by other women. Just like the dialogue that
probably
occurs in groups of women. Just speaking from experience, I'm not gonna name any names, but in many of my friend groups, I constantly hear women talking about how they're anxious about not having a bikini body by summer. And it's like, if that's like what's causing you anxiety in life, I mean, you're in a good place, but still, I don't know, like it just seems like a trivial issue to me, but I understand for many women, for many people, it's something that causes legitimate issues with confidence, with insecurity. So I'm not going to disregard it at all, but for me personally, it's not something that I really concern myself with, because as you said as well, I feel pretty consistent in the way that I treat my body and the way that I look throughout the year. So when summer is about to roll around, I don't start to freak out because my body's going to look the same as it has the last 9 months of the year.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Which is like a good baseline. Okay. To begin with. And so the things like, because you were saying that you tend your welfare or your personal life, your well-being, whatever, okay, concerning looking a certain way, just does depend more on how you feel, but as a consequence of your habits, okay, which I guess that in turn have an influence, on the way you look.
Yeah, so, I mean, for sure, for sure.
Because my question here, when I say, okay, we have to look good, okay, and some people might say, well, that is subjective. That's completely subjective.
Yeah,
so what do you mean? Or some people might even get it the wrong way and say, okay, what do you mean? Okay, or might get even defensive. Okay, so what do you mean by looking good? And I could say, I could just try to, kind of like transform it into something more PC, I would say. But deep inside, when I say I'm looking good, okay, some, unconsciously, some images, okay, might come, like, I might be thinking of some specific look.
Yeah.
Is that something wrong? I mean, like, for example, is that something that, am I thinking incorrectly because of that?
No, I think for better or worse, I think every person has kind of an idealized image of what a good body looks like, or a fit body, a summer ready body looks like, whether it's because we get these images pumped into our social media feeds, or just things we've been taught over time about what we should look like, especially when summer comes around and you want to fit into certain clothing or look good in certain places. So I don't think you're wrong for thinking of like a very specific kind of body. But yeah, of course, I don't think that body that's in your mind is what other people are thinking of when they're thinking of their ideal body.
I understand. Okay, so I get it that for I mean, so the thing, like, I think that I agree with you that probably this I don't know, like, standards of beauty, okay, have somehow been exacerbated or even kind of like transformed to probably unrealistic or kind of crazy standards by social media. Because I think that say 10 or before the arrival, before the, I don't know, not the arrival, but before social media was commonplace, Instagram, I don't know, TikTok, whatever. So we also saw the movies, okay? So we saw these really attractive movie stars or celebrities or artists, okay? So they embodied, okay, the idea of looking good, okay, because they were handsome, they were pretty, they had, nice athletic bodies. But I think social media has taken that to whole new level. Okay,
right.
To the point that it is not enough just to be, I don't know, like to look athletic or to look like you exercise or to have a flat stomach. Okay, now the things like having, kind of six-pack popping and.
Well, it's like now everyone's expected to look like those actors. Mm-hmm. Like the average person on social media feels the pressure to at least only post pictures or videos where they look like they could be working in Hollywood. The standards are just.
But not only Hollywood, for example, because I was kind of looking for some images of like actors that back in the day were considered, kind of like, heartthrobs. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of, for example, a young Clint Eastwood. Okay. The guy was extremely handsome man. Okay. Like really athletic, but he doesn't, and the idea now is like most actors or people that has its reflection in social media. Yeah, looking like that is not enough. Okay, you have to look like a kind of a comic hero like Marvel. Right. A character of the Marvel saga having like popping shoulders, super defined stomach, and even like big biceps. Okay, I don't know, and honestly, I'm not sure about girls, but guys take that very seriously, and I'm not sure if that is because I think, for example, the idea that most people have of looking good. I wanted to ask you if that is a byproduct of social engineering, by means of social media, whatever, or a reflection of what we, like what we biologically are, are hardwired to perceive as attractive or fertile, whatever. You understand?
Yeah. No, and I think at least the current version of whatever the ideal body should be is a bastardization of what we seek biologically. I think I think we talked about this in another podcast, but the idea that men look for women who show signs, whether they're aware of it or not, of being fertile, being of a healthy body weight, the waist. Yeah. So that is, I agree, is biological, but then the images of that body type that you see on social media is taken to the extreme. Yeah, so I think that our vision of what let's say for women specifically, the ideal woman's body type is maybe influenced by a biological inclination, but bastardized by the social media monster that has been created with Photoshop and plastic surgery and
the right picture, the right filter.
Yeah, so it's no longer, I believe, just what biology tells us that we want. It's further social factors, unrealistic, social manufactured factors that influence us too. Yeah.
Okay, but I think that that you're completely right there. Okay, but I think that shouldn't detract from the fact of you striving for being healthier, being more.
No, not at all.
I don't know, more athletic, or at least more, feeling like your best version, or feeling like being in a position where you feel proud, you feel like super confident, or you feel, I don't know, because like that there's the other trend, okay, which is basically, well, if you happen to be, if I use the word out of shape or the phrase out of shape, does that conjure up like an image, for example, for?
Well, I would say I'm pretty out of shape. So
you're pretty out of shape. You don't look out of shape.
Compared to you, I would be out of shape. So I think it's very subjective because, of course, I think someone could look at me and not guess that I'm out of shape. It looks like I could work out, like my body could, like I do exercise, but I would say compared to someone who goes to the gym, compared to someone that runs every day, I am out of shape. I'm not out of shape compared to someone who never leaves their house, but I am out of shape compared to someone like you, who I know has a very strict or consistent fitness regimen. And so when I think of people who are out of shape, honestly, there's no specific image. Yeah, I could say people who are overweight, fat, maybe it's easier to picture them as being out of shape. But I've seen many people who are of a seemingly ideal body type or healthy weight that I can tell you never exercise. So it depends. I mean, out of shape, do you mean that's someone who never goes to the gym? Do you mean that's someone that's 20 pounds or 20 kilos overweight? I don't know.
Okay, for example, I mean, it's hard to conceptualize or just to frame it. I would say, I mean, you need to be, I mean, out of shape. Okay, I think most people should do any form of physical activity, whether that is walking, going for a light stroll. I mean, just being active. Okay.
Yeah,
and if you, but what happens, like, people have different inclinations or gravitate towards different types of bodies. Okay. I, for example, I have always been into action movies, probably comics, okay? So, and, martial arts movies, okay? So probably my idea of looking in a certain way, or looking kind of like athletic, but muscular, defined, but that kind of like, reflected the epitome of like looking athletic, okay? And it's something that I can aspire to, especially if you have been, kind of training or exercising for a while. It's not hard, okay? And some people might be more drawn towards the bodybuilder kind of look, kind of like super bulky. And some people might be, I don't know, like inclined to having a more slender or, skinny kind of like body. Okay, that's fine. The thing is, like, what defines to me out of shape or in shape is, first of all, that you are, you don't not only look in a certain way, but you are, I mean, your performance, at least, I mean, you're healthy. Okay, you have like, I mean, you're healthy. You can like like run and not like, be out of breath. And so you kind of like comply with some bare minimum standards of athletic or performance, like minimum. Okay. And because you can have like, I used to go out with a girl who was super skinny, but she was like out of shape in my
I've met many people like that.
And so to me, that's not it's basically, it's that you feel good in your skin, okay, that you can, you can go to the beach, or you can be in light clothes and you don't feel self-conscious, and that your habits, okay, your habits are kind of like, kind of healthy in a way, which includes your physical activity, okay, the activity you do, and your nutrition, okay, so I mean, sleep and alcohol, and so.
So, I mean, if you ask me if I consider myself healthy and fit, I would say yes, because
that's it.
I treat my body well, I eat well, I get at least 35, 45 minutes of exercise every day. So while I'm not at my peak physical performance, I consider myself healthy and fit. But I think that while that is like a good definition of what I would consider healthy or fit, I think that could vary for people. Maybe some people consider themselves fit if they have a really, really healthy diet, but they may not focus so much on exercise. Some people might consider themselves really fit and healthy if they go to the gym 5 days a week, but their diet, they kind of cheat on it a little bit. So I don't know. I think it's different depending on every person. But like you said, I think as long as you can match some kind of criteria, whether you set that up for yourself, like if you can climb 3 flights of stairs without being out of breath, and that for you is a sign that you're doing good, then that's great,
but like, as I always say, honesty is needed. Honesty, like,
honesty from yourself, you mean?
Of course, like, not try to do some mental gymnastics and
no,
convince yourself.
Sure.
Okay,
which I agree a lot of people do. That's the only type of exercise they do.
Mental gymnastics.
yeah
What I mean, so in the end, like, people should not be hypocritical, and it's like, okay, honestly, because I have like spoken to many people, girls, guys, who just don't have the inclination to go and train, and I mean, that's kind of torture. Okay, they don't like it at all. Okay, I mean, their life is miserable if they, I mean, I think it's miserable because they haven't forced, okay, they haven't undergone this kind of 30-day habit, kind of like
it's hard to build.
But again, for some reason, they're I mean, it's kind of like a chore. Okay, I get it. But again, so if that has no effect on how you feel when you're kind of like on the beach, or you're, kind of like, wearing trunks or whatever. I mean, if you feel completely at ease, okay, and happy about the way you look, genuinely, okay, so like, you don't like, you look at yourself on the mirror, in the mirror, and say, oh, you're beautiful. You try to, I mean, you look good, or you don't. Okay,
you don't have to convince yourself.
That is it. Is it. Okay, if you find that you're in that position, you have to kind of like just trick yourself into believing blah, 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 because you have, you have refused, okay, to do any kind of like, activity, which is kind of like a little bit uncertain. I don't know, like think about that, okay? Don't be, don't be, spiteful, don't be bitter, don't be jealous about other people, because sometimes you have guys and girls probably as often, I don't know, but it's like, and then they get bitter and say, oh, look at this, like her life must be miserable because she like, she must be starving herself, blah, blah, blah. And there's a little bit of bitterness sometimes, okay?
Yeah, insecurity, bitterness.
Sure. Yeah, so you're taking it out on people, and deep inside, okay? It's like, even though you're trying to convince that, there's no such thing as like standards of beauty, but deep inside that, according to what most people think, that girl, that guy, looks good. And you're resentful, you're spiteful, and you try to, you try to downplay it, you try to shrug it off. So I don't know. I don't think that you should find yourself in that situation. If you find yourself in that situation, probably you're not at peace with yourself. I don't know.
Sure. Or you hate the beauty standards that are forced upon you by society. That could be another, maybe. Maybe you don't even want to be that body type, but you're constantly told that's the body type you should be, and that builds up resentment, not because you want to be that, but because society is telling you.
Okay,
so it could be something like you're at peace with yourself, but you're constantly flooded with these images of what you should look like, and that builds legitimate anger at society, I think.
I mean, it's like, if you're at peace with yourself, why should you be affected by what, like the media?
Yeah, because I guess the
I mean, if you don't care, if you generally don't give a fuck, okay, about what people think, or this,
because I think from my personal experience, growing up, it took me time to find peace with the way that I looked. I looked a bit different when I was younger. I was heavier, but I was never critical of my body. It was just society telling me that I should have been. I mean, I was a child, I had no concept of what I should look like yet. So, but society kept telling me, it would be nice if you were skinnier, or you could look like those girls. So I wasn't always at peace with the way my body looked. And so I think that a lot of people who get angry, it's not because they're not at peace or they're not happy with how they look, but it's because of the effect that it possibly had on them when they were growing up, like that formative experience of not feeling good or not feeling like you're worthy of attention or whatever, until you get older and you realize, okay, this is how I can learn to like my body, by doing these things or by feeling certain ways. But I think that's, personally speaking, why a lot of people feel anger towards the constant projection of this image that you're supposed to look like. Because throughout your formative years, when you're learning about your body and you're trying to get familiar with it and comparing yourself constantly to other people, when you're being told that you are not good enough because of the way you look, that is obviously going to build up some anger, not only insecurity, but anger too,
It's probably, okay, the things like, I think that, because I think that especially as you're growing up, when you are a teenager, I think most people like are full of insecurities, like, and
about something, for sure.
Yeah, about something. Okay, so at some point, I'm pretty sure that if you at some point figure out, okay, that probably if you if that it was something like, that the way you look, okay, is a reflection of the habits you have been doing for some time, okay, and sometimes it's not something static, okay. And if the thing what I think would be terrible is like a person really hated the way they look, and they had to force themselves, okay, to do an activity that they despise, okay, in order to, that would be very sad, okay. I would feel sorry for that person. But if you ended up looking in the way you look now, right now, as a byproduct of the adoption of some healthier habits, I would say, like you learned how to eat better, or you understood the importance of having some physical activity.
Yeah, that was it in my case. Nobody told me to change the way I looked. It was just like this implicit, constant messaging from society. But I eventually taught myself how to have these habits that have contributed to me finally feeling great about my body and never questioning if I need to adjust according to some pictures on social media.
Of course.
So I underwent that journey by building those habits. And I think a lot of people do. Maybe some people don't, and then they find other things to blame. But yeah, I'm only speaking from personal experience, as always. That's the only knowledge I really have.
I can also speak from my experience. Okay, in fact, in fact, this like podcast could may as well be called
my personal experience.
All these mistakes. Okay, I made all these mistakes, so you don't have to. Of course, at some point, like the reason why. Okay, I think that for many people, like I haven't always been like a super sporty guy, like super. And in fact, there was like some time I would just hang out with friends and, drink beer and smoke weed, whatever. Okay. And so I was kind of like pretty slacky kind of guy. Okay.
Yeah.
But at some point I realized, okay, or I learned, okay. So it's kind of a mechanism of reward, social reward. I observed that the fitter I looked, okay, the more I would say social rewards I had.
It's the same for me. I'm not exempt from that for sure. I mean, that's an aspect. Yeah.
And of course, especially if we discussed like, the differences between girls and guys when it comes to, dating or whatever, or mating strategies. And for me, I haven't always been like, whatever, like super, good with girls or good at hooking up. And not really, because I was like thinking about other things, smoking weed probably. And,
priorities, other priorities.
So I haven't been like, but I understood, or I saw that the more I conform to some type of athleticism or looking a certain way, it would be easier for me, for example, just to relate with the opposite sex. And so you get like, and sometimes you get some kind of social rewards, and like people are usually friendlier with you. Like girls, kind of like pay more notice to you, probably.
Yeah, I think, you're completely correct in your assertions for sure. I think the big difference is in which order those social affirmations come. Like, do you start changing, or are your motivations to become fit and healthy social approval, or do you get a sense of social approval but you've already started that change prior? Because that forms your motivations. If you're only fit and healthy to please other people, that's not going to be sustainable.
However, honey, I have heard something. It's like some people, the things like, have heard many times, I think is completely correct. Sometimes like vanity seems to be the gateway for many people just to start training. And people say, God bless vanity. Okay. Thank God there's vanity. Okay. Because like you have learned or you have implemented some healthier habits. Okay.
But in the long term, I don't think that's
no.
Primary motivation.
It might be the trigger. It might be the initiating force. Okay. If that happens to be, some people like, because like they want to impress girls, or they wanted to, they were skinny and they were, kind of like bullied at school, and they have decided they are no longer gonna take it anymore. Okay. They're gonna like, challenge the thugs at school, and they, get stronger, whatever the motivation is. Like at some point, I think that something clicks and you find that it's, impressing other people it's kind of like, kind of relegated to a secondary, I would say, position. And so you are more into, you genuinely enjoy. Okay. So you set like some challenges. Okay. You set some, personal bests, or, you actually are more,
or you make it a part of your identity.
That is
like, I'm a healthy person. I take care of myself like that. I consider that a part of my identity. Like, I'm proud of the way that I take care of my mind and my body.
That's it. Or you even like fall in love with the sports discipline that you do. So to the point that it becomes pretty ingrained in your sense of identity. Okay. So you're no longer as concerned about how that manifests in having this or that type of body.
Exactly. That's a bonus. Like
that is it. Okay.
From that.
And of course, I'm saying this. Okay. Like your body, if your lifestyle, if you do certain things, your body is going to reflect that, and you might be happy about the results. Okay.
Yeah.
but so long as you really enjoy the habit, if you
that's the only way. That's the only way, if you enjoy it.
No, but I'm saying this because like I wanted to kind of like change the focus on like, now acknowledging that most people would benefit from adopting a healthier lifestyle, having a nutritious diet, and doing some sort of physical activity. I would suggest like doing some strength. Okay, that's advisable for most people. And the thing is, like, some people would struggle, and probably they would turn to the podcast for this only reason. Is some people, despite putting all the effort, sometimes they feel like they're spinning their wheels, or that the way they look does not reflect, okay, all the work they're putting in, okay. And I don't know, like, do you find people in that situation, in that position, or do you think that people can get frustrated for that reason? Or just because like, I know I'm doing the right thing, I don't care. I know I'm doing the right thing, no. Or do you think like, I'm doing the right thing and I wish that also reflected on the image I project? I don't know.
I mean, I guess like any kind of journey or skill building that you do, some people feel like despite the effort they're putting in, they're not putting out the results that they would like, or they are not making progress quick enough, or quick as they want. And I mean, you know, whether it's a natural plateau or maybe it's just something in their mind and they think they're not progressing, but they actually are, but because they're doing it consistently, they can't notice a change, right? That well. So I guess in that situation, I don't know, I would take maybe a step back and try to reassess the situation, see if you need to change any particular thing in your habit, whether it's exercise, diet, whatever. Like, say, well, do I need to change something, or is it just in my head? Do I need to consult like a third party to give me an objective perspective? I don't know. I mean, I've personally never felt that way again, so I can't really speak to what I would do. Well, I'm lying. I guess the only thing I can compare it to is language learning. Like sometimes I feel like as a Spanish speaker, non-native Spanish speaker, sometimes I feel like I am frustratingly annoyed by how in self-assessed my level. I think it's too low for how long I've been living in Spain. But I know, everybody tells me, everybody who hears me speak Spanish and has experience with my Spanish knowledge, they always tell me like, well, you speak a lot better than some of my native friends, so what the hell are you talking about? And so I know that at some points during the last 6 years that I've been learning Spanish, I've hit plateaus. I think right now I am in one where my level has progressed a lot in the last 6 years, but now it's kind of at a plateau. So I'm like, okay, what do I do to get it back up again? And so I've told myself before, like, oh, maybe you should try a course or an academy or someone to push you other than yourself, because so far you've pushed yourself, and maybe you need someone else to come in and help you progress past this plateau. So yeah, I don't know, does that make sense?
A complete sense. Okay, I think like, you know, I mean, it's kind of something that you take very seriously, and you would like to see steady progress, even though steady progress
definitely
it's very complicated sometimes. Okay, it's like very we're all gonna hit plateaus eventually.
And they are frustrating, because you're like,
but they're frustrating, but
I was making progress, what happened?
But again, so it all depends on the way you take it. Okay, I mean, plateaus are going to be inevitable, but at some point are a necessary step, and you know, you plateau, and then you all of a sudden you figure out, and then you have another kind of like, you know, I would say, you know, another you know, kind of, you know, another
uphill swing.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. And that happens sometimes. Okay, I think in you know, coming back to fitness, health, I think the majority of, I mean, do you think that sometimes when people exercise and they think they're doing well in the kitchen, do you think that the majority of the plateaus has more to do with their exercise or their nutrition?
Nutrition.
Definitely
nutrition. I think I feel like people always have the misconception that exercise is going to be the key, especially if they want to lose weight, that exercise is going to get them to lose weight, when in fact it's almost all nutrition. It's how you eat. And I mean, exercise is going to help you build muscle and lose that extra fat that you want, but it's all in the kitchen. And I feel like people are saying, oh, well, I ran an hour on the treadmill, so let me eat this burger today. It's never going to work that way. So I think a lot of the mistakes happen in the kitchen.
Yeah. Sure. So in that sense, okay, I agree with you. Okay. And there's a couple of things I would like from my experience as to add, because we are kind of running out of time. And I would also like to talk about, to ask you about the advisability of including nutrition in primary school, and, kind of like, whether that would be kind of like, kind of like stressing kids out. I don't know. Anyway, I have like, learned throughout the years. Okay. Of course I have like, I have struggled. And at some point I made it quite easy. Okay. So it was kind of easy for me to consistently look the way I wanted to look almost all year round, minus like, 1 pound above one, like one,
negligible.
Like kind of negligible. Okay. And for me, of course, nutrition has a lot to do, but I'm gonna share like some tips with the audience. Because I have like in my journey, I have like discovered some, like some strategies that would help. But at some point I had to kind of like go back to the drawing board, as you say, and reevaluate, or just try to make things very easy, okay? And not be kind of like very focused or obsessed, because that is not, I mean, one thing's like being fit, one thing's like, everything revolving around fitness, okay? That's no way to live, okay? And that you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot of stuff just because of that, or it's gonna be like in the back of your mind, okay? No good. At some point, when you understand, okay, that the role, as you say, exercise is great for many reasons, okay? Cardiovascular health, building muscle, consuming or expending extra energy, okay, whatever. And just being, more athletic.
Mentally as well.
Of course.
Have a distraction, you get to those endorphins,
But as far as body composition goes, as you say, I mean, like the influence of nutrition is like far outweighs.
It's essential. It's essential.
So once you understand that energy balance, the law of thermodynamics, okay, applies to human bodies. And sometimes in order to gain some body weight, you have to eat more. In order to like lose some body weight, you have to eat less, okay? When you understand that you can manipulate, and sometimes that the attention you pay to macronutrients, okay, the share of macronutrients, that is carbohydrates, dietary fat, and protein, that also matters. It's fun. But I think, I mean, what really has helped me lately is that you need to establish some healthy relationship with food.
Oh, that is the key.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's no point in like having the perfect like macro ratio if you are if you're kind of like anxious when you go out and eat out, or because that means you can calculate, okay, well, how many calories here. And again, so for me, what helped me is to turn. I have like been tracking my macros for some time. I don't track them anymore, because I have found that when I rely on intuition, like internal signals, satiety, I mean, and especially when you start cooking, and making like delicious foods, like including desserts, whatever, you know what happens? What happens is, as a byproduct of that, you start eating less. You all of a sudden you start eating less. Even if you're making like yummy stuff.
I think that's quite true. As a person who cooks a lot, most of her food, that is very true. I always find that I eat more when I eat out. But
even if you're striving to do some really yummy, delicious dessert and cheesecake, whatever, okay. And I think that if we are, I mean, you would eat more if you, for example, you have no longer this cookie monster mentality where you have to engorge, and it's more like a taster and not a devourer, okay? Mentality.
Right. And because you know the work and efforts that have gone into making that thing, and you can appreciate it more. You know what's in it. You know that it's good for your body. And you just kind of savor it. Yeah.
Definitely. And you even like are more detached from the emotional, you're detached from emotional eating, okay? Like, which I say like,
right.
Oh, I serve it, okay? So your relationship with food is kind of healthier as a result.
Oh, yeah. I would say I'm happy you mentioned the relationship with food and not only the type of food that you eat, because I think that's so essential, because again, I personally have been lucky that even when I was heavier, again, for one, nobody made me feel bad. Like in my family, friends, nobody made me feel bad about my weight. But it was also that food was always something that was celebrated in my family. It was always cause for just being happy, being with family. So for me, food has always been like the greatest pleasure in life, not because it fills any hole that I have for, you know, I feel sad, I feel happy, and I eat food to like satiate that feeling, but it's always been associated with just pleasure, but in its purest form, not pleasure to fill some hole. And as I've grown, that hasn't changed. And so I'm really thankful that I've always had a good relationship with food, because I've never felt guilt in any way. Food has never been guilt associated. Exercise has never felt like punishment to me to compensate for eating anything. But I think that's an attitude that so many people have. I always hear my friends say, oh, we had this big dinner today, so tomorrow I'm not eating, or tomorrow I'm working twice as hard. And I think, why are you punishing yourself for having enjoyed that moment? And it's so unhealthy. It's such an unhealthy attitude to have. And I'm so happy I've never had that. I've never regretted or felt guilty for any meal that I've had.
Good for you, because I'm pretty sure that even when you were enjoying those meals, it was something mindful, not mindless, you know. I'm pretty sure.
No, exactly. I was fully present. And the pleasurable moment.
Of course. Know? Okay. The thing, like these people sometimes that punish themselves afterwards for having eaten too much, whatever, while they're eating. Yeah. It's more of a compulsive thing. It's like, it's kind of like binge and purge kind of thing.
Oh, totally. The purging is just exercise in this case, or restricting food. Yeah.
That's it. And so it's like,
it's totally unhealthy.
I mean, if you're enjoying, okay, I contend, okay, that when you're, you know, 100% present and mindful, and as a result, you're enjoying the conversation, you're enjoying the food, okay, but you don't have the necessity to, you know, to gorge, okay,
yeah.
Like, you know, it's like as if, you know, food was kind of like going out of fashion, okay, as if you were going to be like be in, you know, in the middle of starvation, okay. That is like, you know, but you know, by doing that, you would never feel guilty or bad, because you have enjoyed, you have like, you have, you know, it's been a pleasurable activity.
Yeah, it's my favorite activity.
And the thing, like, you know, because like many people, if many people just said, okay, I'm going to eat those macros, so those number of calories, I'm never going to, you know, I'm always going to stick to the plan. But that's going to be a very limiting in the long run.
Oh yeah. So again, I'm not sure, like when I think of habits, I have to think of sustainability, right? A habit has to be not only enjoyable or something you're really passionate about, but also sustainable. So I think it's, I mean, I really admire people who have this like strict or restricted regimen of macros and exercise. I admire that, because the discipline that takes is, to me, unimaginable. And it is admirable, but at the same time, I always think, like, how long can you keep up with it? You know,
I can tell you that, like, you know, for the majority of the people, there might be some outliers, but for the majority of the people, that is going to betray some anxiety. For sure. You I mean, you stop thinking of food as food. You see numbers, and macro ratios, and I don't think that's healthy.
Takes all the fun out of it.
That is it, okay. And even though you can make like, you know, tasty, saving food, okay, whatever. But you look at food, and you look at, you know, you're kind of calculating how many calories, proteins, carbs, whatever. Not a good thing. I mean, it's like, I think I argue, okay, that's gonna be like my my last intervention. I think it's recommendable, it's advisable to spend some time tracking or at least seeing how portions of food, how that translates into energy consumption, okay? To have this knowledge, okay? Not your entire life for sure, okay? Sometimes just to give you some awareness, okay, of how food translates into energy, okay? Just to educate yourself. and then rely on your intuition, because like, I mean, always having a good and healthy attitude towards food, because otherwise it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. Well, it's been great talking to
you.
Yeah,
the thing's like, I had so many points, okay, and it's like,
but
we have to spread them out.
Honestly, in a short period of time, I think we've covered a lot of good ground. I'm really happy with all of the things we've said, really, because I think we've hit on so many good points, not only the mental part, but also the habit part, the discipline, the motivation behind what you do. I think it's been a great conversation. I mean, as always, but we really managed to fit all of that in a relatively short time. So good on us.
Good verb. Good
yes.
verb.
I have to go, but really, thank you for having me on again.
Oh, as usual, like my pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. I will see you soon.
Thank you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.